Hello and welcome to Business 360. I'm Shireen Bhan. The headlines that we're tracking for you this evening. Deep cuts on Dalal Street as the Sensex declines for the fifth day. The Nifty ending at a two-month low, down nearly 350 points. Mid-caps also get battered as 7 lakh crore rupees in market cap is wiped out in a single day. Equity mutual funds see a 16% drop in inflows in the month of April. Flows into large cap funds decline 83%. Month on month, mid caps and small cap funds are back in demand after a sharp drop in March following the Sebi stress tests. State Bank of India beats estimates thanks to a 15% loan growth in Q4, reports the highest ever quarterly profit of over 20,600 crore rupees. Asset quality is the best in 9 years. Asian Paints misses estimates in Q4. Revenues decline marginally, profits rise by just 1%. The management blames weak demand and price cuts implemented in the last few months. US President Joe Biden warns Israel against a full-scale invasion of the city of Rafah, says the US will not supply weapons if Israel launches an all-out assault. Officials at the UN Humanitarian Office claim Israel is choking off food assistance to Gaza, leaving thousands of children on the edge of survival. Air India Express cancels over 80 flights today after scrapping 90 flights yesterday as a section of the cabin crew remain on mass sick leave. The airline management sacks 25 cabin crew members who allegedly instigated the protests and issue an ultimatum to others, asking them to return to work by 4 p.m. or face termination. Market regulator Sebi increases scrutiny on IPO applications by startups. Sources say Sebi wants key performance indicators shared with private investors over 3 years to be disclosed to the public at large. That's an exclusive. Reserve Bank of India sends a stern warning to non-banking finance companies, says cash loans must be limited to 20,000 rupees. The practice is predominantly in gold loans and negative for lenders like Muthoot and Manappuram. Both companies say they do not anticipate a big disruption. Beleaguered EdTech company Buyu slashes prices of products and shifts its sales strategy. Sources say the new policy links salaries of the sales team to the revenue that they generate every week. A strange BJP ally in Haryana, Dushyant Chautala, calls for a no-confidence motion against the state government, writes to the governor calling for a floor test after 3 independent MLAs withdraw support. The Foreign Minister of Maldives arrives in India amidst the strain in bilateral relationship. External Affairs Minister Jaishankar holds talks and says a close relationship with neighbours are of great value. Maruti Suzuki unveils the 4th-generation Swift with the price tag of over 6.49 lakh rupees, hopes to revitalise the hatchback segment in India. Well, we do have a packed show lined up for you, but as always, straight to the day's market action, and it didn't look good on Dalal Street. Deep cuts that we saw for our markets. This after Sensex declined for the 5th day in a row. The Nifty, in fact, ended at a 2-month low. So that's the story. 350 points low on the Nifty. The Sensex lost over 1,000 points, 1.5% lower. 530 points. The Nifty Bank lost a percent. The Nifty mid-cap index was down by almost 2%. 7 lakh crore rupees in market cap wiped out in a single day. Prashant is standing by now with the day's market action. Prashant, what led to this sharp fall that we've seen in our markets today?
Deep in the red at the market today, and it was a consistent, constant selling pressure, and the market pressed lower and lower through the course of the day, and we finally had a 350 point plus kind of a sell-off on the index. That's a large cut, about 1.6, 1.7% or so. This is a continuation of what we've seen over the last couple of days. It's not as if, once again, global markets were weak or something else was happening which necessitated this reaction here. It was all been very local, as we've been pointing out. The Nifty Bank will come up on your screen. Similar kind of picture. The Nifty, of course, lost at 22,000 level today. The next kind of big number is the April lows from where the last rally began with, and that stands at about 21,777. Mid caps and small caps, the selling pressure here, of course, has been larger on days when the market has been down. So between 1 3/4 to 2% cuts coming through here. It's not as if earnings have lent any great support because the single stock reaction, earnings related, has been more down than up. So L&T, sharp cut after those earnings yesterday. Asian Paints, there was BPCL, Coal India, ONGC and ITC were some of the other names which came through under pressure. What was up? Hero, Tata Motors and Mahindra, actually through and through, it was an auto kind of a day on large caps, stocks which were higher. Broader markets, again, lots of earnings and news related, but on the way down, Piramal Enterprises Manappuram was down sharply. Muthoot, of course, was the other one, which sold off 8%, recovered, did better than Manappuram. Angel One was down. Aarti Industries, Naveen Fluorine, Motilal Oswal, Engineers India, BEML, Sula reported numbers, reaction there. Moil and Bajaj Consumer were some of the others. On the upside, I mean, there was an Adani Power back above 600, TVS Motor and a SKF India, which looked higher as well. We'll, of course, look at what the flows were from the institutional side and see what holds for us towards the end of this week, which is, of course, tomorrow as we come back. Back to you.
Well, Prashant, many thanks for joining us. Yes, closing the week out tomorrow. Let's see how the markets perform. Inflows into equity mutual funds, by the way, fell 16% in the month of April. This as per data from the Association of Mutual Funds of India. Now, inflows into large cap funds were down 83% compared to last month. However, investor interest in small cap funds returned in April with inflows rising above 2,200 crore rupees. This after witnessing outflows in the month of March. Mid-caps have also seen a similar trend with inflows up 76% month-on-month. Meanwhile, contributions to monthly SIPs remaining strong, crossing the 20,000 crore rupee mark for the first time. On to earnings, and there's plenty of them. The big one, State Bank of India reporting a very strong set of numbers in the fourth quarter, a beat across all parameters. The bank's net profit rose 24% to 2,698 crore rupees. This is the highest ever quarterly profit, largely driven by strong loan demand. Asset quality is also the best for SBI, and it's at, in fact, a 9-year high. Shares of SBI gained in an otherwise weak market, this after the strong Q4 print. Abhishek is standing by with the fine print of those numbers. Strong performance coming in from the big boy in banking, Abhishek.
Well, State Bank of India strong loan growth has aided with respect to them beating our polled NII and PAT. So if you take a look, deposits are up 11% YOY and 3.5% quarter-on-quarter, largely in line with the estimate from analysts. However, advances growth was at 15.2% YOY and 5% sequentially, despite the fact that they grew in the previous quarter 5% on a quarter-on-quarter basis. Despite the strong base, the growth is pretty strong. So YOY, it's the highest in last 4 quarters, and sequentially it's the highest in last 8 quarters. This is led by the corporate book, which grew by 16% YOY and 11% sequentially. The annualized slippage ratio is one of the lowest that you are seeing in last 4 quarters. It has come in at 0.43% versus 0.57%. So slippages were expected to remain stable on a sequential basis, but they have declined, leading to asset quality being the best in last 9 years or even more. Gross NPA ratio has declined to 2.24% versus 2.4% in the previous quarter. Now, analysts were pegging a net interest margin to remain flat on a sequential basis, but net interest margin has expanded to 3.28% versus 3.22%. So, best return ratios that you are seeing for SBI in last 9 to 10 years. Quarterly ROA has touched 1.35% plus, so it's at 1.36%, and ROE is at 20.3% for FY24. Watch list has declined massively by 20% quarter-on-quarter and is at just 0.09% of the book, which is the lowest that you are seeing in last 29 quarters. Cost to income ratio is the lowest in last 5 quarters. It's improved to 51.3% when compared to 60.3% in the previous quarter. So with respect to their PNL, both the NII and PAT is a beat on our poll. Back to you.
Thanks very much, Abhishek. In fact, SBI Chief Dinesh Khara says they will submit the feedback to the Reserve Bank on the draft project finance norms. Take a look.
Well, I think we have done some assessment, but I would say that as of now, this is too premature to really comment on that because it is still a discussion paper. And we will be reaching out to RBI and also with our views on what they have proposed. We have made some broad assessment, and based upon those broad assessments, even the incremental provisions which are required to be done would not be really significant for us. We will be in a position to maintain this growth trajectory which we have recorded this year also, somewhere around 15 to 16%. Earlier I used to maintain 13 to 15% kind of a growth. I would still maintain that our growth as far as loan book is concerned should be in the similar range, 14 to 16%. And when it comes to the deposit also, we are expecting about 12-13% kind of a growth.
And more earnings. Punjab National Bank missed estimates in Q4 on the back of weak loan growth. Net interest margin declining to 3.1% versus 3.2% in the previous quarter. Cost-to-income ratio the highest in the last 10 quarters, coming in at 56.1%. However, the bank's asset quality did improve on a sequential basis. A weak quarter for Asian Paints, missing street estimates across all parameters. Net profit rose marginally, while revenue slipped less than 1% on an annual basis. The management said that revenue was impacted by weak demand and down trading in the premium segment. The management also added that the prices cut implemented in the last few months had an impact on earnings. That's Asian Paints for you. But here's the latest in the ongoing crisis at Air India Express, which has cancelled over 80 flights today after scrapping 90 flights yesterday. This after a section of the cabin crew continued to remain on mass sick leave. The airline's management has sacked 25 cabin crew members who allegedly instigated the protest and has issued an ultimatum to others asking them to return to work by 4 p.m. or face termination. Danish Anand joins us now with the details. Danish, so cancellations continuing today. The Labour Commissioner has also called for a meeting of the staff as well as the Air India management. Where do things stand at this point in time?
Well, for the second day in a row, Tata Group's low-cost carrier Air India Express has cancelled flights. 85 flights due to unavailability of the cabin crew members have been cancelled today, and AI Express is operating 283 flights instead of the usual 360 daily flights, which is almost a reduction of 20%. The other group airline, Air India, is supporting AI Express by operating 20 flights on their route. The airline has also terminated 25 cabin crew members who allegedly instigated other crew members to report sick. An ultimatum has also been given to the remaining crew reporting sick to return to work today or face termination. Over 100 cabin crew members reported sick at the last moment on late Tuesday night, which has impacted many domestic and international flights of Air India Express. The airline has rolled out a curtailed flight schedule for the next few days, and disruptions are set to continue for the coming days as well. The CEO, Alok Singh, has said that senior cabin crew members have a deeper stake in helping to build and achieve the airline's vision, and the company leadership is available to discuss concerns. The Labour Commissioner has also summoned the officials of the airline and the union members, and a town hall with the cabin crew members have also been scheduled for today.
Danish, many thanks for joining us. Moving on, shares of gold financiers tumbling in trade today. This after the Reserve Bank had issued a stern warning to non-bank finance companies, saying that cash loans must be limited to 20,000 rupees. Ritu joins us now with the details. Ritu, the RBI putting out this circular, NBFCs reacting, the market also reacting to this. Take us through what they have to say in terms of management commentary.
The Reserve Bank has issued this advisory to NBFCs, largely gold loan NBFCs that have a presence in Kerala, to strictly adhere to the income tax provisions on cash disbursement of loans, plainly cautioning them that no NBFC should disburse loan amounts in excess of this 20,000 cash limit as per IT rules. Now, the letter's not really come out of the blue, because if you recall, RBI recently took action against IIFL Finance for its gold loan business, where among other reasons, the breach of cash dispersal limits for this gold loan was cited as one of the issues by the regulator. Now, we understand that after that, several large gold loan NBFCs reached out to RBI to seek clarification on whether this 20,000 rupee cash limit had to be strictly followed. Now, keep in mind, RBI scale-based regulations clearly refer to these rules. The action on IIFL Finance was also intended as a message to the system. But despite this, we understand some players continue to flout this rule. So it is in response to this that RBI's Department of Supervision issued this letter to NBFCs, to the likes of Manappuram Finance, Muthoot Finance, etc., asking them to keep this 20,000 rupee limit in mind. Now, Morgan Stanley says NBFCs will gold lending business will need to make some operational changes, and there could be a transient financial impact as well, which should be manageable. Muthoot Finance, Manappuram Finance, of course, in focus. It notes for Manappuram, for example, 40% of disbursements are happening in cash. For Muthoot, 40% of the gold loans are actually online. So it says in the near term, there is likely to be a negative sentiment for both of these stocks. And it also notes that Muthoot has been investing in digital initiatives, so there should not be any major friction. We in fact spoke to the MD of Muthoot Finance earlier today, and he said that there should not be any major challenge because of these changes.
This is actually not any selective instruction. It is a universal instruction applicable to all NBFCs. Whether big, listed, unlisted, any NBFC, this is applicable. Because 80% of the customers even pay their interest occasionally through the bank channel. So it is not we don't see it as a challenge. And next second part is, if they are not going here, where else are they going to go? Because all NBFCs, this is applicable. Those numbers are very minuscule, and we will have no difficulty there. So I don't have any numbers there. It's nothing significant.
Well, from gold financiers to edtech startup Buyu, it has cut prices of products and unveiled a new sales model as it continues to face a liquidity crunch and legal challenges. Sources tell CNBC-TV18 that Buyu has significantly reduced the prices of its product by as much as 30 to 40%. Sources also tell us that the company has made changes in the payment structure for sales associates. Now, Buyu sales associates will receive 100% of the amount on deals closed, while managers will get 20% of the same. Essentially, Buyu is linking the salary of its sales team to the revenue that they generate every week. Buyu has said that this is a 4-week experiment. It has the potential to become a forever model, depending on how it works. Vijay Shekhar Sharma-backed Pi Platforms is exploring the option of offering a ride-hailing option on the Open Network for Digital Commerce, or ONDC. Sources tell CNBC-TV18 that the ride-hailing feature is still in testing mode and is visible to only select customers. Users can book autos on the Pi Mini app in the Paytm app. Prem Tabak Go Digit's initial public offer will open for subscription on the 15th of May and close on the 17th of May. Cricketer Virat Kohli and actress Anushka Sharma, who are shareholders in the company, will not be selling their shares in the public issue. The company's IPO includes a fresh issue of shares worth 1,125 crore rupees and an offer for sale component of up to 54 lakh equity shares. On to CNBC-TV18 exclusive, Japanese company Aika Kogyo, which specializes in laminates and building material, is looking to acquire significant stake in Stylam Industries. Yash is here with more. Yash.
Well, Shireen, quite an interesting transaction as far as, building materials, laminates space is concerned. What we've been given to understand is that Japanese laminates major Aika Kogyo is looking to acquire a significant stake in an Indian entity which operates in the same business, that is Stylam Industries. What we've been given to understand from our sources is that through a share purchase agreement, Aika Kogyo is looking to acquire about 14% stake initially in Stylam Industries. Through this particular transaction, the sale would happen from the end of the promoters of Stylam Industries towards Aika Kogyo, and the promoters are expected to raise about 400 crore through this particular 14% stake. Now, once this 14% stake is transferred or it changes hands, then there would be an open offer which is likely to be triggered in this particular company, that is Stylam Industries, for another 26% stake, which means Aika Kogyo will have the option and the availability to raise that 26% stake as well through the particular open offer. Altogether, Aika Kogyo looks to bring its stake in Stylam Industries to about 40%, and if the open offer goes through, then the current promoters of Stylam Industries will hold about 40%, and 40% will go to Aika Kogyo. In a situation where the open offer doesn't go through, in that case, the promoters would explore the option of selling their 26% stake to Aika Kogyo, helping the company raise its stake to 40%.
All right, Yash, many thanks for joining us. We will take a break, but up next, the Foreign Minister of Maldives arrives in India amidst the strain in bilateral relationship. External Affairs Minister Jaishankar holds talks. That and more when we return. Well, on to a CNBC-TV18 exclusive. Market regulator Sebi has increased scrutiny on IPO applications by startups. Sources tell CNBC-TV18 that companies will now have to publicly disclose key performance indicators shared with private investors over 3 years. Startups have said that they are wary of such disclosures as it could impact competitiveness. Nisha standing by with more details. Nisha, take us through what Sebi is looking to do.
Thanks for that, Shireen. Yes, several sources with direct involvement share with CNBC-TV18 that the market regulator, SEBI, has increased the scrutiny on the disclosure of KPIs or the key performance indicators by IPO-bound startups. Now, the regulator calls for all KPIs which have been shared with the private investors over the last 3 years to be disclosed in the DRHP filing. However, the issuers have the option to withhold any particular disclosure by giving their reason to the market regulator. Now, this step is being taken because so far the startups had been selectively disclosing the KPIs in their offer documents, sources suggest. Now, First Cry, remember, is a recent instance where Sebi called for additional disclosures and the company had to refile the offer document with disclosure of additional KPIs. Now, sources also suggest that all the IPO filings are undergoing the scrutiny, and this has led to a concern and uncertainty in the startup world, including also their investors, iBankers, lawyers, all of them working on the listing process. Some startups are wary of disclosing certain KPIs which have been shared with private investors, and their concern stems from disclosure of granular details to the public. Now, these companies believe that such disclosures can really impact their competitiveness, as a lot of granular details are shared with the investors, who also, remember, aid the startups in strategy and scaling up. Now, sources also point out that this issue is creating friction between the startups and their investors, as the flow of information is getting restricted due to the current concerns. While the industry is looking for a solution and standardization of a clear framework with regards to the KPI disclosures, many believe that in the meantime, the return of startup IPOs will be delayed and the process of receiving a Sebi clearance will get complex.
All right, Nisha, many thanks for joining us. International stories. U.S. President Joe Biden warning Israel again against a full-scale invasion of the city of Rafah. Biden said the U.S. will not supply weapons if Israel launches an all-out assault. Officials at the UN Humanitarian Office have claimed that Israel is choking off food assistance to Gaza, leaving thousands of children on the edge of survival.
On our behalf, we continue to have concerns about a potential Rafah operation. We have made that quite clear. We've made it clear with the Israeli government privately, and of course, everyone from the president on down has made that clear publicly.
In fact, the Palestinian envoy to India has sought India's help in providing life-saving medicine. Speaking with our colleague Parikshit Luthra, the envoy said that Palestine is running out of essential drugs and has called for India's help.
I asked them to send us also medicine to the health ministry of Palestine, because we have many items completely zero tablet. And we don't have money to buy. I'm sure they will send. India has good relation between both sides, right? And India, I think peace in West Asia is very important for India also.
The Palestinian envoy to India seeking assistance when it comes to life-saving drugs. The Foreign Minister of Maldives in India amidst the strain in a bilateral relationship. The current president of the Maldives, Mohammad Muizzi, is considered closer to China. He visited China soon after taking charge and ordered the Indian military personnel to leave the island nation. Amidst this backdrop, the Foreign Minister of Maldives held talks with his Indian counterpart, Jaishankar. Before the talks began, Minister Jaishankar said close relationship with neighbours are of great value.
As close and proximate neighbours, the development of our ties is obviously based on mutual interests and reciprocal sensitivity. As far as India is concerned, these are articulated in terms of our neighbourhood first policy and Sagar vision. I hope that our meeting today has enabled us to strengthen the convergence of our perspectives in various domains.
That's the External Affairs Minister. And before we wrap, Maruti Suzuki has unveiled the fourth generation Swift with a price tag of 6.49 lakh rupees. The auto major hopes to revitalize the hatchback segment in the country. Speaking with Parikshit, the company's MD said he expects exports of 30,000 units of this latest release annually.
The hatchback segment, we think it's very important, especially when market is growing. A lot of new customers coming into this market, from motorcycle riders, used car drivers, they are all coming into the new car buyers. And for this first-time new car buyers, I believe that hatchback segment will play a really important role. So that's why we are introducing this epic new Swift this time. This, new Swift is also very important for the export market also. And from India, we have been exporting a lot of Swift. Our export volume is growing in a rapid pace, and this Swift we are expecting to sell annually more than 30,000 units for export market.
Well, that is the new Swift from the Maruti Suzuki stable. With that, it is time for us to wrap up this edition of Business 360. The news continues here on CNBC-TV18. Stay right there. We're back in a moment.